morning, Lee Heights. We just got back from a bike ride and thought this was a good time to remind everybody that you do need to get your exercise and make sure you stay hydrated. We are wearing our mask like this because, like Pastor Beachy said last week, we want to be good neighbors. And so if you're on the bike path and there's other people on the path and you can't get 6 feet away, it makes everybody feel safer if you can just pull your mask up and go past like that. We're going to talk about testing today, and the first thing I want to just say about testing is that you're not in control of getting testing or not testing. There's some criteria, and this is because there's been a shortage of tests, and so they're really only testing people who are at risk for hospitalization. Nathan's going to talk more about that, but that may change as testing becomes more available. But right now, the way to get testing is to actually call one of the hospital hotlines and they will schedule you an appointment, or some jobs are also testing. So there's two types of testing.
We'll start with the antigen test. That's a test for the actual virus in your body. What this test tells us is if you are infected with the virus currently and if you could pass the virus to someone else. And that's real important information because if you have the virus in your body, then you certainly want to self-quarantine unless you're really ill, and then you need to go to the hospital. This is the test that's usually done with a swab in the nose, and they look at the material and see if the virus is there. When you should get this test is if you're having respiratory symptoms, especially if you have a fever, or if you know you've been exposed to someone that has coronavirus. But probably wait for at least 2 days if you're not having symptoms, because it can take 2 to 14 days for you to show up with the virus in your body. So if you get tested too quickly, it may not show up. This test only tells us if you have the virus in your body at that particular time. So sometimes people get multiple tests because they keep getting exposed to people.
The other test is the antibody test, and that is the test that holds a lot of hope for the future as far as helping us to determine who's safe. The problem is that we don't know yet whether, if you have the antibody test, and that means that you have been through the disease and you've developed antibodies so you can't supposedly get the disease. That means immunity. What we don't know is whether having the antibodies actually protects you. We can't say that yet. And the other problem with the antibody test is that there's a lot of companies that are making them, but there's not good controls, and so they haven't been very accurate. So antibody testing is something that we should be able to do in the future. We can't do it right now. There are some places that are starting to do it. They did testing in New York, for instance. So that's it for today. We wanted to talk about the two kinds of tests. One of the other things we just wanted to mention is that positive and negative on a test result, negative is not always bad. If you don't have the antigen, that's a good thing, and that would be a negative test. If you do have the antibody, that's a good thing, and it's a positive test. So it's a little bit confusing, but negative is not always a bad thing.
All negative means is that the test did not show the result, that there was antigen or antibody there.
That they're looking for, the thing that they're looking for. Right. If you have questions, you can send us emails at leeheightscc@gmail.com. There's also a tip sheet for how to get good information. There's multiple good places to go. CDC and ohio.gov are two good places to look, and all your hospital websites. Thanks, and have a good week.